What's going on out there? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome. This is the Tim Laskus Show, and yes, I'm Tim Laskus. Hey, this is episode 012. Dang, we're cruising right along through these episodes. It seems like yesterday I just started. Well, anyway, today's guest is Erika Born, and her interview is a little bit different because she's a sidepreneur. Some of you out there might be sidepreneurs. And she's got an awesome story to talk about how she works in marketing and in sales. She has her own marketing company called Erika Born Marketing. She also started a youth motocross program that's very successful called MX Zen. She does a lot of stuff. She's very, very busy. And let me tell you, she's got a very cool son who races motocross. The guy is super fast. I mean, he's flying. He's been riding since he still had his diapers on. He was already out there racing. The diapers flying off as he's going around the track. They actually had to stop him and put no, I'm just kidding. I'm making that crap up. Hey, but this is a great episode. You're going to enjoy it. So thanks for being here.
The Tim Laskus Show, in search of entrepreneurial gold. Tim digs deep into the minds of his guests, entertaining, down to earth, and informative. Now, here's your host, Tim Laskus.
Welcome, everyone, to the Tim Laskus Show. I'm very honored to have Erika Born as my guest today. Erika, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. And earlier you were telling me about your son and how you're pretty passionate about motocross. Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
Yes, my son started motocross. He started riding when he was 2 and started racing at 4. And it's been an amazing journey, and it's such a wonderful family sport. And the kids are just so talented; they'll blow your mind. So I was just impressed with this little guy every day, and so I just got very passionate about any sport my kids are in, but motocross definitely takes it to another level. So it was something that definitely became my life and my passion, and it was our life for a very long time.
For sure. Now, is it true that by 6 months old you had him on the motorcycle? He was already doing laps.
Yeah, he was doing whip, definitely. Actually, at 6 months old, when he was crawling, he would go over to our dog and get on the back of her and take her ears and go, brap, brap. And we're like, oh my gosh, maybe he'll like a motorcycle. And next thing years later, he's a motocross national champion. So I'm like, hey, maybe the dog was good practice.
There you go. Yeah, I guess that's a good sign that
Yes.
he has the gene for motocross when he grabs the dog's ears and starts going brap, brap.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That is great. Well, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself professionally and what are you currently working on?
So I'm currently the marketing director and Eastern Region sales rep for Ace Vision Ultrasound, and we sell ultrasound systems, parts, and probes. And I'm also I'm in sales selling and our service contracts, and then I'm heading up their marketing program as well as their online education program.
Right. And you're also a sidepreneur because not only do you work for someone, you're doing your own thing on the side.
Yes, it was the side work was my main source of income and passion at one point, but now I'm working with ACE, so I'm doing Erika Born Marketing on the side, and we have a program for youth motocross called MX Zen.
Got ya. So what was that like having, because there are listeners out there who are sidepreneurs and or thinking about starting something on the side because for whatever reason they may not be enjoying their current job and want to test the water. So what was that experience like for you to kind of juggle both?
Well, again, like I said at the beginning, I was, because I was a stay-at-home mom, and then went back to college, and then really got bored. So that's when I started just finding things that I could do from home. And it wasn't until I got motocross involved into the marketing part that it really, I mean, it was just fun because there's so much to learn about marketing and there's so many resources out there and apps. And I mean, there's things that people have no idea that's even at their disposal. So just, it was, great because I love to learn new things and I love to find things that make life simpler. But with that said, being able to have motocross integrated with it made it fun and it made it very interesting and actually fulfilling because my program was helping other families and kids stay in motocross, obtain sponsors, and educating them on, the social media do's and don'ts and how to get sponsors and how to stay safe on social media as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what was it like being a woman? And most people think of motocross as kind of a men and boys out doing their things, and then here you come into the sport. And how well were you received, and were there any challenges by being a woman?
Well, it's funny because that's actually the first thing I thought would be the biggest challenge would be being a woman in this sport. But to be honest with you, I didn't really have any setbacks or any kind of issues being a woman because I don't know, the sponsors, I mean, I had great sponsor support. I had great mentors. And then the parents really received it well because they were getting help. I'm sure that the guys in motocross didn't really care for it. And my husband was one of them because that was his sport. And plus being an entrepreneur, it was taking a lot of time from the family and then it was in his sport. So that was the biggest challenge was, the misconception that you need to be doing your house stuff instead of what you're passionate about. But when you're really passionate about something and you really enjoy what you're doing, it's really hard to stop you.
Sure. And I'm sure once they saw that you were competent at what you did and that you were passionate and knew what you were doing, that you earned some respect, along the way, and people, I'm sure, started to take more note of you and your position and kind of status.
Yeah, I was definitely fortunate and blessed that, the people, when they saw what I was doing and understood what the program was, that they are realizing that it was about giving back to the community and helping these kids. So regardless if I was a woman or not, if they liked it or not, I mean, they were only going to be, limiting themselves on what they can do for their future, for their child or themselves in motocross.
Right, right. Well, what are some tips you would give the listeners for those who maybe are women or even just men or women who want to be a sidepreneur? What are some tips you would have for them for starting out?
Well, the first tip I would give is make sure that they have a lot of support, family, especially in the home, because it is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort. You will work more than you will sleep. You'll work more than you even eat. And also surrounding yourself with like-minded people or people that are like think bigger than you. But that was really big. So since I was at home and, it's not like I could be out surrounding myself with people, I really got into Gary Vaynerchuk's courses and his YouTube and Grant Cardone and, excuse me, Amy Porterfield. Really just reach out and find people in your area of expertise or what you're trying to grow in and listen to them and take that time to listen to the podcast or watch their YouTubes or go to Udemy and do some courses that are free out there because the more power, the education you have, the more powerful you feel. And, you may think you know everything, but you don't. And then also, if you're an entrepreneur, my biggest tip is if you're going to have people working with you, make sure that they are obviously as motivated and they believe in your program as much as you do or more, and you will do so much that you'll forget a lot. So thank God I had people that could help me remember my passwords because you'll go through a lot. I forget a lot.
Absolutely. Well, it's information overload at times.
Yes.
Now, one of the first thing you mentioned is support at home, and I know you had shared with me some information about things how stressful it was and some of the conflict that it caused between you and your husband, and not having that full kind of support from your spouse. And what does that do to your entrepreneurial soul? Because there's a lot of people out there who probably have a spouse or a partner who really does not believe in what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's sad because it's really hard. I actually, thought that, and one of the things that he didn't really support, it's because he didn't understand. Like a lot of people, when I talk to them about some of the marketing stuff, like the automation and, creating, collecting, building your list and all this, that means nothing to them. So they don't truly understand it. So I would, trying to take it in from his side. When you're hearing that means it's like jargon. It means nothing to you. And so you're kind of having a hard time thinking that something would be successful that really, it sounds like they're talking about, making cookies or something, but they would understand that better. So, for that, maybe he just didn't have enough of an understanding. But I just know that whenever I would follow my mentors, like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, all of them, and they talk about having that support in the family, I would literally process it and say, okay, he doesn't support it now because he doesn't understand it, but as it gets bigger, he'll support it. So I'll get it then. And it doesn't happen. And so you're kind of working towards, you're losing your energy and your mindset on the program, and you're trying to prove to them or using your energy to show them that this is real. And this is, not only do I believe in it and I'm passionate about it, but this will be something that we can, make into a business. And so it just becomes overwhelming, and it's so hard. And if the people that are your spouse and your family does not understand or support you, then, number one, I would say sit down and let them be kind of involved or show them the plan. And if they still don't support you, then I would just say you're definitely going to have, a hard time. You're going to have some challenges.
Right. And looking back, is there anything that you would change in the way that you presented it to him, or the way things went, or looking back, you're like, no, I wouldn't change a thing. It just
No. Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. I had a whole entire workflowy, which is a program that you can get, and my workflowy was from inception to all the way down to the end to what I do in my personal life, and it was like 10 pages long. It was very clear what my business plan and what my vision was, and he knew when I got interviewed with, other podcasts, and been in Business Innovators magazine, and, but there was no interest in really hearing that. So, no matter what the reason is, and they have, it's fine if they don't support you, but you have to know that if you're not going to have that support, it will be terribly, terribly hard, because when your family gets home and if they don't support you, there's a lot of kind of anxiety and pressure that comes along. And hence the reason I think I had like so many password malfunctions and had people have to help me, because you're kind of like just so worried. You don't want to like offend them, and you want to be there for them. But, you're also, you believe that this is going to happen. And, it's kind of a catch-22, I suppose. But yeah,
Right.
I really believe that the support is critical.
Sure. And it doesn't have to be the end of your journey if your spouse or your partner or whoever is close with you does not believe in your vision. You can always find that support from outside, and finding those mentors, either in your community or that are online or wherever they might be.
Correct.
Is that you can always find that support. So yeah, it would be
I had
nice.
beautiful support. The people that supported me and believed in me, and I really believe I had the perfect setup. I just needed to get somebody that was a little better at like the financial, like all the admin stuff, because that really, I was doing everything, like from every part of the whole entire program. So just learning what your strengths and weaknesses are and being able to delegate those out, but I had amazing, like everybody believed in it. Well, except for my husband. So that made it a little tough, but everything happens
Sure.
for a reason. It's okay.
Absolutely. And another thing that struck me is you said that you work more than you sleep. And that is key. There are so many people out there who enjoy sleeping in. And in fact, I was at Walmart, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and it said my best trait is sleeping in or something like that. And I'm like, that is definitely not something that an entrepreneur would buy. Or if they did, they don't even need to go down that path, because if you're used to sleeping in and that's your thing, and you like the 5 o'clock whistle, hey, entrepreneurship, sidepreneurship, whatever it
That's not
might
going to
be,
work.
is just not going to be for you, because it just shows you have to be able to manage your own schedule, and not kind of be oh, well, nobody's telling me what to do, so I'll just kind of not do anything for the day, or I'll just sleep as much as I want. No, you need to be your own best boss and be able to put yourself on a schedule, and to be pretty strict, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, another misconception is, oh, I'm going to become an entrepreneur so that I can just like go out to golf courses and my business is running stuff, or I'm going to go be able to just be home more with my kids, but still be able to be successful. You can get to that, but starting up your own business and becoming an entrepreneur, the first, I would say, at least couple years, you are hustling. You are not sleeping. Like my partner he lives in the Philippines, and I actually met him because of Kyle, my son. He was one of Kyle's followers. And so I would literally be up till 3 or 4 in the morning sometimes, and then I would get up at 6:30 because that was the best times for us to talk and get our things together, because he did all of the website stuff and all of our graphic design. So, and I would have people say, "Gosh, I saw you sending an email or posting this, and do you ever sleep?" And I said, "No, I don't. I don't at all." And so you won't sleep, you won't eat much, but if you believe in it and you work your butt off for it, you'll get that luxury to have, be able to take some time off or whatever. But I don't think people should go into entrepreneurship saying, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to just be lazy.
Yep, absolutely. It's a misconception. And so get used to ramen noodles and no sleep. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when did you first realize that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
When I, was at home and I was with Kyle and I was posting stuff on Facebook because all of my family lives down in Georgia. And Liat, that's his neck brace, Liat Protectives, featured him on their Facebook based on what I was posting. And I had no idea what I was even doing. I was just trying to share it with my family. And then he was noticed by the owner of MX Antics, which is a youth motocross program out in New Zealand. She had a magazine and a motocross team, and she did a story on Kyle. And then after the story, she ended up inviting us to New Zealand for Kyle to represent the United States and race in New Zealand at their mini nationals. And when I was there, she said, "Erika, you really know what you're doing in this marketing stuff." I was like, I didn't even know I was doing marketing. I thought I was just posting stuff on Facebook. And she's like, "No, you really know what you're doing. And, you really can like look into that and try to do something with that." And that's, she really opened up my eyes. And I just get bored at home. Before my son was born, all the way up till he was 6 months old, I've always worked since I was 15. So, I just get bored and I needed to do something productive.
Right. So it sounded, it was kind of part of your character, but you also just kind of stumbled into it as because of your son and his interest in racing, and it just took off. And
yeah.
I watch Shark Tank every now and then, and I don't know if you watch that show, but
I love that show.
There have been several entrepreneurs on there that mentioned, "Hey, I never thought about being an entrepreneur until I had kids," and then they had this idea, or something happened, and so that's.
Well, there was one thing that happened. I was going back into the workforce and I was going to interviews, and I had already when Kyle was born, I went back and obtained my degree, did the schooling for 3 years online to finish my degree and all. And I would go to these interviews, and now I have a degree. Now I've got 10, 12 years of sales and marketing experience. And I was saying things to them and they're like, "Whoa, what is that? I didn't know." "Well, what is that?" "Oh, I didn't know about that program." And I'm thinking, hold on, if I know more about marketing than the people who are hiring me from marketing, why don't I just do it and make the money myself?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm going to come in and teach them things. Like, they should already know this stuff. And because marketing is so big, and there's so many options, and there's so much to learn. And so really I left the interview. I'm like, man, I continue to have these interviews where they have no idea and they're like writing notes, and I feel like I'm giving my secrets away. So why don't I just do it myself and still be able to be there for my son?
Well, that is great. So it sounded like you had kind of a knack for marketing, and thinking back to your own youth growing up, what were some of the messages that you received about money and business and finance and all that good stuff?
I was always taught, number one, before you buy anything, ask yourself before you get up there to purchase it, do I need it or do I want it? And then based on your answer, is this something in my budget that really we can splurge on or not? So I'm really frugal, and it kind of drives my kids nuts. But then also saving, like I was always a good saver. And, I think my uncle taught me really well. He always talked about purchasing things in cash and paying up front, like cars. And I mean, if you can just get yourself into that habit, it makes your life a lot easier. And when you know how to say no to things that you don't need, then you'll find that, at least I have, I mean, everybody comes into financial hardship, so they have emergencies that may wipe them out a little bit. But if you just stick with that and not buying what you don't need, and then sell what you have that you're not using.
I have a 3-month
I'm
rule
constantly
on that. If I don't look at it, use it, touch it in 3 months, get rid of it.
Yes. And that is literally so big. I actually read a finance book back in the day. Like, I read a book and it was talking about exactly that. In 3 months, if you don't touch it, use it, see it. And actually, I've been moving a lot through this journey of like getting ready to get divorced. I think I've coined myself, me and my son, nomads. Now we're settled. But in that transition, boy, we have like really minimized like our material items, and it's like, it feels good. So if they do that 3-month rule, get rid of it.
And when you go through something that, that forces you to get rid of things, or you just happen to decide to do it, you realize pretty quickly, it's like, wow, I kind of feel great because I don't have all this stuff that just kind of, and people buy big homes and they don't have a lot of stuff when they initially buy it, but then they buy stuff to fill it. And again, it's just stuff. And what are you going to do?
It is. Yeah. It's noise. One of the things I was reading on for like minimalist living is, all the material items that you have literally are noise. They're like frequencies that kind of like disrupt your balance, and people think you're crazy when you say that. But when I returned from Loretta's, and Robin from MX Antics was with us, and we were moving, we had sold our house, so we had like 10 days to get out after Loretta's, and we had a big dumpster come, and we had a yard sale. Let me tell you, we filled the dumpster, had a yard sale that we probably sold half the stuff, like buy 10, get it for $1 or whatever, made $500, and still took 3 truckloads to, like Goodwill. And then, packed our stuff, put it in storage. And I found that when we got into our new place, unpacking stuff, I was like, gosh, I don't even need this. It's been in storage for 9 months. I don't need it, and like you forget even what you have. So they end up just being like things that kind of give you instant gratification, make you feel good, then you forget you even have it. So, but when you are throwing away and like clearing out your material items or your, all those belongings, you kind of get addicted to it. Then you're like, hold on, I don't need this. I don't need this. You're throwing stuff away.
He's like, wait, Mom, hold on.
Yeah.
It's
funny because when we had our yard sale, he was like freaking out at the yard sale, and he's like, no, I really need that. No, I really need that. Mikhail, please, you have to go away because we have to get rid of this stuff. And one lady picked up one of his items, and she came to buy it, and he busted out crying, and he's like, that's stinky, the garbage can, I need that. Meanwhile, we haven't touched it in like a year, and he needed stinky. And that lady felt so bad that she gave it to him, and I'm like, you have to go away, man, you're messing up business. You're like totally messing up business, kid.
Decreasing your profit. That's funny. You had mentioned Loretta's a couple of times, and I think for listeners who were going, Loretta Lynn? Yeah, you're talking about Loretta Lynn. And for people who don't know, it's Loretta Lynn has on her ranch every year in Tennessee, they have an amateur national championship, and she has just been wonderful. I've raced there many years ago, and I had that honor and privilege, and it's just a fantastic thing. And she's a fantastic person who's really been kind to the sport of motocross.
Yes, she has. It's amazing, and it's a great experience. And motocross is really, really great, but it can be definitely intense, and it can totally, there needs to be good balance and good support in the community so that people don't, really kind of mess up their family dynamic in the process of getting so wrapped up in the results or whatever, because it's really hard. I mean, when you've got kids out there doing what our kids do and you're seeing them, it's hard not to get just so like intense and so excited and so passionate about it. But then it comes off, and I believe it's like unconsciously, like you don't even know you're doing it, but you're kind of living through them, obviously, which it's okay that people live through their kids as long as they're not breaking their kids to live through it, because I'm never going to be able to do a jump or do a whip. So if I can live through that and be like, oh, I did it, that's great. But if you're like, you have to, like, you're breaking them down because of a result, then, that's really bad, and everybody does it, and everybody gets wrapped up, and, they need to just have that support to say, hey, I've been there, and just just talk to them and be able
Well, I
to keep
think
them
also some
balanced.
parents see dollar signs when they send their kids to these national championships, and they know if they do well, they can have the spotlight on them and possibly have a chance to get that big factory ride one day as they grow up. And it seems that the teams have their eyes and their scouts out for these kids younger and younger, and get them on these programs. And so yeah, there's a lot of parents who get super intense because many times, it goes from being fun to, okay, it's about, this is a business, this is money.
It's like so
Yep.
much work,
Hmm.
yes, and it becomes so much pressure on everybody, including the kids. And I can tell, when I started MXN, I would tell the parents, especially when they called and they're like, "Oh, we want what Kyle has. He's got all these followers. He's got people in Brazil that are cheering for him. They got this. We want that." And I said, "Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Don't think that because he's on, the Cobra, he was on Allegan Motorsports, which is a great team that he was on, like everything. I believe that people think when you said dollar signs, like they're really going to get like this, they have the next Carmichael. They need to get in there and just know that you have whatever your little kid's name is, Jimmy, and just keep it fun because you have a better chance of winning the lottery than your
For
kid being a
sure.
pro.
For sure.
You really do. And none of these kids, including Kyle, and he's won mini O's and he's been a podium rider at Loretta's and Daytona and he raced internationally, in New Zealand. We never had people knocking on our door offering us free bikes or, like, let's just come hang out with you and like we're going to pay you. You're not going to get it. It's not in, and I tell people that I'm like, look, Kyle doesn't get free bikes or money or paid, and you've got to keep it fun for them because he may not ever want to do that. Like Kyle wanted to be a Navy SEAL. Now he wants to be a professional drummer, and for his birthday this year, he wants to meet Dave Grohl. I'm like, yeah, I'll get right on that, kid. Like
He's ambitious.
they do have other
Yep.
interest.
It changes. It
you know.
changes. Well, you talked about the stress of motocross and kind of getting back to the stress of being an entrepreneur. What's something that you can share that you struggled with mentally when you were trying to grow your business, and how did you overcome it? What coping skills did you use?
Well, I mean, I think one of the greatest challenges was just staying organized and having communication with the people that were on your team. So all of the people that were on my team, we called ambassadors. Everybody was doing it for free, just like I was, because there was no, like, even though we had members coming in, we had programs we were investing in because we created a learning management system for our members where they could log in and they can get discounts, and it was just a whole, like, anything you need in motocross. And that's what I based it on as a mom who didn't know anything about motocross from the beginning to now. Like, what would I need? What would have helped me when I came in? We do their websites, we do their resumes. I mean, it was a pretty big program and still is. I say was, but that's when I was really active in it, and it will, resurrect. But it was really about keeping yourself organized and on track because there was so many calls, so many emails, so many Facebook messages. I mean, my phone never stopped. And so one thing that I will recommend, another tip for entrepreneurs, if you're an entrepreneur and you're working with people all over, your support team or your people, your, ambassadors per se, are all over spread out, Slack. Oh my gosh. We didn't find Slack, and I tried so many different programs, I felt really bad. I mean, I even lost ambassadors because they're like, you're confusing the hell out of me. And I'm like, I'm confusing the hell out of me. But I'm getting like hundreds of emails and Facebook messages, and I have to streamline this because I cannot do it, And so Slack was a really, really good app to use so that you're clearing up your inbox and you're not getting overwhelmed, because just seeing that and seeing all these messages and hear that phone and then you're getting text messages, that was really hard. So just finding things to make it easier for you.
So what does Slack do? Is it integrate with your email system?
No. Slack is a program that teams use, and actually it's a really big like a lot of big companies use it. So it brings all of your communication together in one place. It's real time messaging, so you could use it on your phone. But what it does is it actually takes your messages out of email. So like when I I would get a message from somebody as far as on my team, and they're like, hey, the member wants to know where can we get this. Like, to get a little question like that, and all of them continuously come in on email, you're going to have like 5,000 and you're trying to find it. But in Slack, you can actually categorize, like you can make channels. So you can like, okay, here's our podcast, here's our websites, here's our members, this is onboarding. So now, if we had a conversation about onboarding, just go to that, and then our conversations are our documents, everything. So it brings all the pieces of the people you need together, so you can get things done without having millions of messages. Wait, did you send that on text? Did you send that in email? Did you send that, SOS? So it really did help simplify and streamline all of our communication and our processes.
That's awesome. And it goes back to what you said, being organized kept you from stressing out and losing your mind. So
yes, I mean, I'm not going to say I was organized, because when I would go to find a member contract that I maybe updated, I'd have a hard time finding it. And then finally I'd find one of them on my laptop in documents, and one on my desktop and then I'd find three of them. It's the same document. I would find it in three different places, Dropbox. And then, I put it in Slack. And then they were like, Erika, oh my gosh, like I could literally find the same document 10 times. First, I can't find it, and then I'd find it in 10 different places.
Wow.
Yeah, but Slack will help you to kind of, like I tell them, if you need like a document or something that we have, let's just have a channel called Marketing Materials, and you've got it right there. You know what I mean?
That's a great tip. I love it.
Thank you.
Can't get enough of that. Can't get enough of those entrepreneurial tips. So looking back at your journey, what's been the most fulfilling moment?
The most fulfilling is when the kids will come up to me, and the members or even non-members, and just, thank me for what I'm doing for them, or tell me, I want to be a Zenner. We actually it was interesting. One of my ambassadors had shared a story on my Facebook, and it was a family in, I believe, Louisiana, that was going to give away their Cobra because they were not able to afford bikes or whatever their hardship was.
That's a motorcycle, everyone.
Yes, the Cobra is a little mini motorcycle. Well, but they're fast, and it's a 50cc. And so this family had been blessed, and they had a child that was given the opportunity based on, just the people in the community reaching out to them. They put him to a motocross school. They gave him a bike, this and that. Well, when he got a new bike, his family felt that it would be only right to give it to somebody else that could not afford a motorcycle. So my ambassador shared it on my page, and I saw it, and I was so moved by it that I just started sharing it. And when I ended up sharing it, it really, they called it the MXN Pay It Forward campaign. It wasn't my campaign. It just happened to blow up because of me sharing it. And at the end of the day, we ended up getting people, of course, are like submitting names of people who would be worthy of like getting the bike that, they have a hardship. But then I had sponsors calling me saying, we want to donate the suspension on the bike. And then another sponsor, we want to donate the graphics. And then another sponsor. I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. Wow. Like, this kid's now going to get from a used bike to a brand new bike. And then one of my other friends in Texas that they weren't members yet, but he called me and he said, Erika, I'm just so touched by what is happening right now that we were selling Case's bike, and now we would like to pay it forward, and we want to give it away too and do a drawing for somebody who is worthy of it. So then I posted that out there, and his son was on my son's team on Allegan. So Allegan saw that, so they donated, brand new top end work or whatever it's called. I mean, I know motocross, but I'm not the mechanic. And then we had somebody else do suspension and get, like, these kids literally got brand new bikes. We had all these sponsors come together. They were messaging me, tell me what we can do to, help this family out. And it was amazing. Like, it was so awesome. It was beautiful. So I ended up extending to these families, the families that were giving the bikes away and the recipients, free membership to MXZen and becoming a part of our Zenners group. And it was just awesome. That was like my favorite time. And again, it wasn't my program, but it was brought to me because they felt this is so up your alley. This is what you believe in. And when I shared it and started promoting it, all of a sudden it just exploded. And what a beautiful thing to bring new people into the sport, and they come in with that support and that love. Like, they got to think, man, this is the greatest sport ever. So, I mean, they're going to have a shock when they got to pay for all the stuff on their own, but they're going to get,
and you were part of that cycle, and that's incredible. And that feeling I'm sure that you got is much more than anything that money can provide.
Oh, it was so great. And we got, they sent me pictures and we did a write-up on it in a blog, and you got to see the pictures of the kid that gave the bike to the kid that received the bike. And, it gives me chills just talking about it. I mean, it's really good. And that's what I love. I've always loved being the giver and helping these families, but especially like not just the families, the kids, because let's just be honest. There's a lot of parents that are just annoying. It's not about them that I'm doing this for. It's for the kids, because if these kids get to stay in it and they are, passionate, then I believe they're going to have less chance of being out on the streets or getting into drugs or allowing people to bully them, because while they're being bullied, which my son went through, I can jumps and I can do things that you may not even be able to ride a bicycle yet. So just, hey, it gives them more self-confidence,
Absolutely.
And so I just wanted to really do something for the kids, to be honest.
Well, that's wonderful to give back like that. And that's a great story. Thank you for sharing. And Erika, we've come to the end of the show. And so I want to give you a moment to tell the listeners how they can contact you, how they can reach out to you, because you've provided incredible value on this show. And I bet there are people out there who want to, have some questions or something they want to come to you about. How can they find you?
Okay, well, first off, I'd like to do a shout out to my company that I work for, Ace Vision Ultrasound. So we do sales and service and parts and probes, and we're going to have a training program where we will be teaching biomeds and clinical engineers and technicians on all major OEM ultrasound machines. And so you can reach us at acevisioninc.com or call us at 855-548-4115. And on my motocross and marketing part, you can visit me at erikaborn.com, and there you'll be able to see my story and our journey and maybe read some of the stories. It'll link you to MXN and KyleBorn464.com. You'll get to see some of his accomplishments as well.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Erika, for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care.
Want more entrepreneurial tips? Go to timlascus.com.